Hello again. Now, the 2023 budget speech is set for next week, Wednesday. Now, are we on track to meet revenue collection targets for 2023 and beyond? And can we expect economic growth and practical measures from government to help small businesses? These are some of the tough questions many citizens are asking ahead of Enoch Godongwana's speech next week. Let's unpack some of them now with Ettiene Retief. He's a chairman of the National Tax and SARS Committee for the South African Institute of Professional Accountants. Ettiene, good afternoon. Welcome to Today on eNCA. Thank you very much for your time. So, from a perspective of tax, just the taxpayer base, we're told, is reducing because some of the wealthy taxpayers have been leaving the country. I mean, how big is an impact?
Well, I think a lot of people are stating that the impact is quite significant, when in reality, any person leaving with their capital or with their knowledge is obviously going to be a loss to the country. But is it as significant as some make us to believe? No, because the revenue collections that are taking place now is based on current tax debt that is sitting there, that's already been assessed, earnings that it's based on. So we'll only feel the impact of that going forward. And not every person that immigrates is as significant a loss in terms of the overall fiscus, because the real loss is the persons who would be the entrepreneurs who start up businesses, employ a lot of people, the capital that would potentially go with it. It's not always just about the tax revenues. It's more, there's a bigger picture to this. But we would need a very significant amount of people to leave and take their capital with them to really have that be a significant impact. In the short term, revenue targets can be collected regardless of immigrations.
Yeah. Now, in the medium long term, what else should be done, in your view, to improve the taxpayer base?
Well, I think the first thing to remember is that the base is made up of, effectively, there's two things that determine that. One is the number of taxpayers that we have, and the second would be what we tax. So in the short term, there's not much we can do short of trying to find job opportunities for people to or kind of to address the unemployment. But we all know that that's not something that's going to be solved in the short term. That's a longer term thing. So in the short term, the only real things we can do is to try and keep the base as stable as possible. With other words, support the taxpayer base. So the immediate issue that we have is things such as the impact of load shedding that we have on the economy. So in the shorter term, it's about stability and also the ability of bringing or securing and maintaining foreign investment. That's the only real short to medium term benefit or infrastructures that we need to focus on to stabilize at least from a taxpayer point of view.
Okay, final question to you, Ettiene. It's tough. The economic times are tough. South Africans are feeling the pinch and the squeeze. Cost of living has gone very high. What do you think the Minister of Finance can do to help South Africans breathe a little bit easier?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of scope for savings, because remember, any savings that we give in terms of the tax or any additional spend that we want to put in has to be funded by tax. I don't think there's scope for too much of that. I think what we can hope for best in terms of the minister's speech next week would be that we take a moment of no further tax changes or significant tax changes, no big changes in terms of the tax rates, allowing us to kind of, I would say, consolidate the position that we have and provide some relief. There's also the opportunity of that we've moved a lot to home offices and also hybrid type of employment. And our current legislation is not very conducive to help people with regards to the expenditure that they incur of a home office, because that's very restrictive the way it is currently written. And I think that would be probably the one place to assist us at home. And the second would be alternative energy production, or at least some kind of assisting with some kind of relief where the energy interruptions has caused significant disruption to business and potentially to its turnovers.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon here on eNCA. That's Ettiene Retief, Chairman of the National Tax and SARS Committee for the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, just sharing some of his views ahead of next week Wednesday's budget speech in Parliament by the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana.